It's a Ross Tucker football podcast.
Oh, yeah, it is. But it's not just any Ross Tucker football podcast. It is a teaching tutorial Thursday. Class is in session with former NFL offensive lineman. Most of his time was in Washington, where we were roommates. Yes, roommates for 2 years, as well as with the Cincinnati Bengals. And he's a lifelong Cincinnati resident, which is why I wanted to talk to him this week to get the pulse of Cincinnati. And he probably has a story or two about me from being roommates that I don't want him to tell, but he probably will as well. His name is Alex Sulfsted. We'll get to him momentarily. You guys are going to love it for both of those reasons I mentioned. Tomorrow, already, we got winners. We'll have a spread the word winner at Ross Tucker NFL, at Ross Tucker Pod. We'll have a sponsor confirmation email winner, ExpressVPN, 100 Flowers, Athletic Greens, LinkedIn. Take advantage of any of them. And please keep sending the emails. Love getting the emails. And then the YouTube shout out, youtube.com/Ross Tucker NFL. Just subscribe. Just hit the thumbs up, subscribe, make a comment. Ross, your hair looks terrible. I don't care what your comment is. You are eligible to get a cameo style shout out from your boy. It's Big Show time.
The Big Show.
So I got a chance to have dinner with this guy last Saturday or 2 Saturdays ago now, before the AFC Championship game. It was absolutely glorious. We were roommates when we were 22, 23 years old. He played, how many years did you play, Alex? 6?
5 years, Ross.
5 years in the NFL. Alex Sulfsted, drafted in the 6th round by the Chiefs. We were in Washington together in 01 and 02. And Alex had the really unique opportunity to end up playing for his hometown team for the Bengals. So I got a million questions for you, dude. I guess I want to start with this. You are and always have been a Bengals fan, right?
Absolutely. Born and raised.
So what's this playoff run been like? What's it meant to the city? What's the buzz there right now?
Ross, the city's, it's awesome right now. I mean, the energy. They had 35,000 fans at a pep rally the other night. It is, it's just everywhere. It's incredible. The city needed it. You know, we've been waiting a long time for anything like this. You know, start off with the Bearcats earlier this year, and then now to have the Bengals where they are today. I'm still in shock. You know, every week. I keep trying to find what's going to happen. It's just been incredible.
You know, it's so funny because I think fans of a lot of the teams, this will resonate with them, Alex. Tell them what you told me you were thinking when the Raiders got the ball on the last drive in the wild card round in Cincinnati against the Bengals.
There was no doubt in my mind that they were going to score and go for 2, and that's how our season was going to end. It's like I love the Bengals. I want nothing more in the world for them to win this whole thing. But as a lifetime Bengals fan, I keep trying to find ways that we are not going to do it, right? You know, last week in Kansas City, I know I texted you during the game. I said, oh my gosh, we might actually pull this off. When Kansas City didn't score, I was going back to the airport at halftime. I was leaving. We're down 21-3. I told the guy next to me, I said, hey, I'm probably going to leave at halftime, go watch the rest of the game at the airport. We score. They don't. They walk. They get out of there. They score no points. And I'm like, something's just different. Like it's in my mind, I find every way for us to lose, and Joe Burrow and those guys just keep finding every way to win.
So it's so funny because, well, you know, you took a picture of me, but I'm on the sideline, and right after the Chiefs don't get any points, I run right up to Zach Taylor, and he's right there with Evan Washburn, and it was cool, Alex. He was so fired up. He's like, it's the same score as last time against these guys. You know, like that play at the end of the first half, I mean, that's about as fired up of a head coach I've ever talked to. I mean, now it was 10 seconds after that play, so what's he going to be? But he's like, same score as last time against these guys. We got this. Like that really, to your point, really helped them and made them believe. I guess one of my questions is, does the fact that this kind of seemingly came out of nowhere? I mean, Alex, they won 6 games the last 2 years. They'd had 5 straight losing seasons. Does the fact that it seems like it came out of nowhere, no one was expecting this year. My only prediction about the AFC North was that the Bengals would finish in last. How much better do you think that makes it, just that it was such a surprise?
Ross, it's again awesome. I'll tell you this. I got a story. So it was like week 4 or 5. My kids, we were season ticket holders forever. I gave it up about 5 years ago because kids peewee games and stuff like that were interfering with Sunday football games. So I gave it up. And week 4 or 5 this year, my kids are begging me like, Dad, let's go down to a game. I'm like, we're not going down there. And I said, here, they make it to the Super Bowl. We'll all go. I mean, it's just, I'm still, again, I'm in shock. I'll be the first to admit, Zach Taylor would not have been my pick for head coach 3 years ago. And I was a little bit shocked with the extension last year. And he's proven me wrong. And I'm so happy and thankful for it.
How bad had it gotten for Bengals fans? So I'm good friends with you. I'm good friends with our mutual friend, Brian Kropp, who's my co-founder of Go Big Recruiting. And it just felt like, for whatever reason, over the last 10 years, that the Bengals had just you guys had just lost your luster for it. It just felt like they had taken your soul away. And even going to Bengals games over the last decade, there was a lot of empty seats. It felt like, people had really kind of had it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you got to remember where we came from before Marvin came here, right? It was the bottom of the bottom. No player wanted to play here. The year 2001, I think I was the only person in that draft class that actually wanted to be drafted by the Bengals, right? Nobody wanted to come here. And you got to give a lot of credit back to Marvin, who did change it. We made it to the playoffs, never won, but it brought some relevancy back. And then the last 2 years, it was like you went back to the early 90s, and it was just it was the bottom of the bottom. I don't blame you for picking us to finish dead last.
Yeah, I mean, I was not a Zach Taylor guy at all. I mean, I was like, this guy I'm not impressed with him at all. That's what we like about sports, though, right? You can be wrong. It's like I don't like being wrong, but I like that sports, you don't know what's going to happen, and sports can make you wrong.
Yeah, like I said, I'll be the first to admit he was not who I would have picked back then, but I am happy to be wrong right now. I'm 24 hours from now, I'll be on my flight out to LA, and I'll be ready to have some fun.
Oh man, that's amazing. Last question on that part of it. Joe Burrow popularity right now in Cincinnati. I can't even imagine. Like, what is it like for that dude in Cincinnati right now?
He must have tinted windows in his car, because that guy, I mean, people love him. I mean, how do you not love the guy?
It's crazy. We didn't talk about this. I mentioned it to my listeners last week, but it was so cool for me, Alex, to interview Mixon and Von Bell and Burrow after the game. You realize, man, like you and I, we're, early 40s now. We've got kids.
Old.
You've got a successful lawn care business, all that stuff, right? For these guys in their 20s, that was the best moment of their life. They don't have kids. They're not married. Like, I was with them. The only people that were out there were the Bengals players, coaches, and me. And I'm like hanging out with them for the best. I mean, Joe Mixon was crying. And, obviously we know what happened with him when he was in college, and just so appreciative of the Brown family for giving him the opportunity they gave him. And then Joe Burrow was like so calm. I don't know. I didn't tell you this, but I asked him 3 questions. The first question, he was so relaxed. I was like, my second question, I said, Joe, you just won the AFC Championship game for the Bengals. You're going to the Super Bowl. Like, how are you so calm right now? And he's like, well, I was excited a couple minutes ago when Evan made the kick, but that was a couple minutes ago. And, I kind of thought we would win the game, and I'm already ready for the next one. Like, the guy's unbelievable.
Yeah, the more you read on him, I mean, the guy just wins, right? Like, he's never lost a playoff game. He just
All right.
wins.
So here's what's cool about Alex. So Alex got drafted by the Chiefs in the 6th round, ended up getting cut by the Chiefs, goes to the Bengals practice squad, and then we were able to go ahead and sign him in Washington after there was an injury. I don't even know how we became roommates. Like, you got there. Did I just say, oh, I had one of the trainers as my roommate, but that kid was weird and he like moved out in the middle of the night. I don't know what happened to that kid. But you came, I was like, I got an extra bedroom. You want to, because why wouldn't you, right? Like, why would you pay for your own place?
Yeah. Well, I think it was like week 5 of that season that I came out there. I was staying in a hotel. We talked briefly about this with Metcalf had come in, the punt returner that year. I don't know how I probably just because you and I were like the only rookie linemen, and you had an open room, and I was like, sure. I don't know how long
so we became roommates. We became good. We're lifelong friends. And that was 20 years ago, man. That was 2001. Crazy. Now it's 2022. Now these are the questions I'm a little bit nervous about, but I'm an open book. My listeners know I'm an open book. I'm going to ask it anyway. What was I like as a roommate?
So they see how intense you are every day right now on the podcast, on the radio. It is absolutely, that's 100% Ross Tucker every hour of his life. I was laughing. I told my wife about this last week after we had dinner. I said, Ross just commands the room. It's just so energy. No one loves football. And I tell these people all the time, no one loves football or is more intense about football or more intense than anything that he does than Ross Tucker. I mean, it is, whether it's eating, I know that's your new favorite thing. Again, I remember that when I never had a problem keeping weight on. Ross ate more food than anybody I've ever seen in my life, and he still does it.
I still do. Now I just have to work out like a madman. It's so funny because people are always like, I guess I just don't know any different. Like, this is just how I am. People always say, like, when I was in Kansas City, before I had dinner with you, I went out and I had a beer with a couple of listeners. They're like, you're just like you are on the show. I'm like, this is me. What do you mean? Like, what do you think? I'm different when I'm on the show? This is how I live my life.
It's 100%.
All right. What's one thing about me that you know that my listeners wouldn't know? So one thing about me, either as a person, as a roommate, as a football player, I don't really talk about my playing days that much. Like, what's one thing about me that you know that probably most people don't know?
Well, we'll talk about something that's easy to come up with is you as a player. If I was playing opposite of you, I would be fearful. Like, if I watched film of Ross Tucker, I'm like, this guy is going to try to break my kneecap. He's going to cut me. I mean, I remember when you went to Dallas. Who was our tackle we had? Daryl Gardner. Oh my gosh! Like, I think he was fearful of you. Like, we were all kind of feared him, but I think he was literally like fearful of you. He thought you were going to try to ruin his career. Like, Ross Tucker, again, it's what you see. He is 100% every play.
Two stories that I remember that we got to talk about. The first is 2002. I get cut by Washington. I get picked up the next day on waivers by the Cowboys. So I leave Alex. I'm like, see ya. I'm going to Dallas. So Alex, my name's on the lease, and now Alex is the one staying there as I go out to Dallas. A month later, it just so happens we're playing Washington on Thanksgiving, and Alex and I it's our second year for both of us. we're both starting at left guard. Alex starting at left guard for Washington. I'm starting at left guard for the Cowboys, which, by the way, Alex, is probably the coolest game I ever started in my life. Like Thanksgiving Cowboys game, dude. There's just something special about that. But we've had multiple people tell us this. There were guys that have played Bruce Smith, Daryl Gardner. We had a long snapper, Ethan Albright, who had played like 14 years. Like 2 hours before the game, I'm out on the field, and Alex comes out, and he has all my mail from our apartment, and he hands it to me at the 50-yard line. And the long snapper says, I've been in the NFL 15 years. I have never seen a 50-yard line mail exchange. I have never seen a guy bring some guy's mail to him at the 50-yard line 2 hours before we're playing on Thanksgiving in front of 50 million people or whatever.
That is an all-time classic story. But you had bills to pay, man. I had to make sure you had those things.
The other story I remember is 04 when I'm starting for the Buffalo Bills. You're playing for the Bengals. And, we go out to dinner the night before the game. So believe it or not, here we are. We're on different teams. But we got out for dinner the night before the game. Now, Alex ended up being inactive the next day, so you weren't dressed or whatever. But we go to Jeff Ruby's Steakhouse and sit down for a meal. And one of your D linemen is in there. Did you guys not have to go to a hotel the night before the game?
We did spend the night at a hotel the night before.
Okay, but you didn't have to be there till later, till 8 or something, I guess?
Yeah, I know we had time to
go. So anyway, we walk in, and one of the Bengals D linemen is there, Dwayne Clemens, okay? And what Alex is saying is correct. Like, I was very aggressive as a player. Defensive players would say I was dirty. Offensive coaches would say they love me. I would just say it's the only way I thought it was fun. Like, that's what I thought was fun, right? So we go into this steakhouse, and Dwayne Clemens has like a big fur jacket on, and he's got a big smile on his face. And Alex is like, hey, Dwayne, this is my buddy Ross Tucker for the Bills. Like, and Dwayne's smiling as he's about to shake my hand. And then when he hears Alex say Ross Tucker for the Bills, his expression totally changed. Like, this mother sucker is what he was thinking in his head. Like, it was so funny, dude. He had no interest whatsoever in like shaking my hand or being nice to me. And I don't blame him. I was going to try to kill him the next day. I don't blame him at all. I mean, two quick things from that game. Alex, I don't know if we ever talked about this. One is your boy Langston Moore spit in my face during the game. And I was screaming at Marvin Lewis, who we knew from Washington, telling him to put Langston Moore back out on the field because I wanted to try to blow out his knee. I mean, dude spit in I was like, put him out here. Marvin, put Langston back out here, like screaming at him. The other thing I remember about that game, I was the tight end on field goal extra point. There's like 30 seconds left. We're up by 9. For some reason, we kick a field goal. I don't know why. We kick a field goal, and I'm the tight end, so I got to step in and hinge, which means I'm the guy that gets blown up by 3 people. Well, the middle of the 3 was Justin Smith.
Oh.
And he just annihilates me. We make the field goal. Okay. Somebody false started. We have to do it again. I'm like, you got to. I mean, the game is over. The coldest game I ever played in. It was a top 10 coldest game in Buffalo Bills history in Cincinnati. My back's killing me. I'm stiff. I'm about to get lined up for the field goal. And Justin Smith looks at me and says, what do you say me and you kiss one more time, Tucker? And I go, dude, are you serious? He goes, yep. And he just blasted me again.
I mean, one of the best bull rushers of all time, that guy.
The best bull rusher I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Alex, the game is over. He has no reason to do it other than he just thinks it's fun to kill people. And I just had to take it and just get destroyed. Last question. What was it like being a Bengals fan that actually played for the Bengals. So most guys don't experience that. I never got to play for the Eagles. I don't experience. What was it like actually playing for your hometown team? Was it all positive, or were there negatives about people wanting tickets? Like, break that down.
Yeah, I think I had a pretty positive experience. Obviously, I wish I would have played more while I was here, played more when I was in Washington. But getting to come home and live at home and play for your hometown team it's incredible. There's a couple guys on this year's team. I can't imagine what it's like for them. I mean, going to the Super Bowl for the team that you grew up worshiping and loving your whole life, it's got to be just incredible.
It's awesome. Well, this interview was incredible. I laughed a bunch, and I think my listeners will get a lot out, and viewers, a lot of YouTube viewers as well. Have an awesome time at the Super Bowl, man. Have a blast. Enjoy it. And it'd be very cool for you and everybody in Cincinnati if the Bengals won. Thanks so much, man.
All right. Appreciate it, Ross. Good seeing you, man.
Love talking to that guy. Alex Sulfsted, 5 years in the NFL, my roommate, and played for the Bengals as well. Bengals fan. Pretty cool. You know what else is cool? You can create a free job post in minutes on LinkedIn Jobs to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 770 million people. Focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience and use screening questions to get your role in front of only the most qualified. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs number one in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Did you know every week nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Post your job for free at linkedin.com/Ross. That's linkedin.com/Ross to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
Tux Takes.
Hi there, Ross. Let's start with Dan Snyder, who's creating an independent investigation into most of the recent Washington allegations. So that's really good news there. The NFL, though, says that we're going to do our own. Thank you very much.
I mean, what a joke. I mean, what, like, it, and I don't even know how independent the NFL investigation is. You know what I want to do? I want to start a new business. I know I have several already. I want to start a new business where I do independent investigations of people's independent investigations of people's independent investigations. I'll be like the third layer guy. Okay, Washington does independent investigation. The NFL does an independent investigation. I'll do an independent investigation of the NFL's investigation of Washington's investigation. I mean, there's a lot of talk about kicking Stephen Ross out of the NFL if they can find this to be true about incentivizing Flores to lose games. At some point, I got to think they're going to get closer to having those discussions in Washington. And that's about all I have to say about that.
Tux Takes.
The NFL Honors event is tonight, and you and M-Dub discussed it yesterday. Any further thoughts?
Yeah. A couple. We talked about I'm looking forward to it. I'm glad it's Thursday night and not Saturday night. I don't know who was watching it on Saturday night, but I would never watch that thing on a Saturday night. Thursday night, I think I get a much better chance to watch. The one thing M-Dub and I didn't talk about was the Hall of Fame. And I tweeted this morning, Bri, and I mean it. And I want you to mark down the time I said it on the show and save it. 24 minutes into the show. If Tony Baselli and or Richard Seymour are not elected into the Pro Football Hall of Fame tonight, I'm going to tell the Pro Football Hall of Fame to remove my name from the ballot. Remove me from consideration. That is a sacrifice that I am willing to make. I will no longer be up for debate for the Pro Football Hall of Fame as a player if they don't elect Baselli and Seymour tonight. It's a huge sacrifice, Bri, but somebody has to be willing to do that. So I'll be the guy.
Well, if you're going to do it, then I'm going to do the exact same thing.
Bri, you with me?
I'm with you.
All right. Who else is with us? Who else is? I am renouncing the kingdom of Ramunda. I am no longer the heir to the throne of Ramunda. What movie, Bri?
Coming to America.
Yes.
Tuck's Takes.
All right, finally, there's an announcement, press release yesterday from the NFL saying that they're going to play 4 games in Germany over the next 4 years, 2 in Munich and 2 in Frankfurt.
Dude, I love this. I love this. First of all, Germans love football. Secondly, I've got a lot of German blood in me, so I love that. I'd love to go to one of those games. Dude, I think if you go to a German NFL game in Germany, I think the broadcasters are allowed to have like a beer stein and just like be drinking beers all game. I think that's technically allowed in Germany. I got to check. I'll check with the league office, but I think that's allowed. I think it'll be awesome. You guys know how I feel. I think it's by far the best sport. I want as many countries as possible to have games played there, as many young people as possible to get a chance to play the sport. I played soccer. I played basketball. I played baseball. I played a lot of sports. It's just not the same. I can't speak to hockey, but I can speak to a lot of the other ones. It's just not the same as running into another dude as hard as you possibly can, which is amazing. Almost as amazing as Athletic Greens. Athletic Greens, you guys know I'm high on Athletic Greens right now. You know why? Because I don't eat as many vegetables as I should. And I felt like I needed to eat more. And my gut health is not great, probably in part because I don't eat as many vegetables as I need to. 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens. It is awesome. You can do it for less than $3 a day. This is like your new multivitamin. They have over 7,000 5-star reviews, climate neutral certified company, which is cool. I know what that is. That's a cool thing. Look, to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/Ross. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/Ross to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. I would say, Bri, no email questions today. I'm just going to give some big time shout outs. Don't have time for the email questions. I will say this, though. Absolutely love those email questions. Love the winners. Please keep them coming. Love Pizza Boy Brewing. Love Sporticulture. Vision Comics with an X. HumanHeadNYC.com. SteakhouseSports.com. Yet another special guest tomorrow. We are on fire, and I'll break down the winners of the NFL honors, as well as tell you all about what I think will happen in Super Bowl 56. I think we're done here.
Thanks for listening to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. Make sure to also subscribe to the Fantasy Feast, Even Money, Business of Sports, and College Draft. All available at Apple Podcasts, rosstucker.com, or wherever podcasts can be found.
A lot of times on the show, I mentioned DraftKings. Here's what you need to know. You got to be 21 or older, New Jersey, Indiana, or Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER, or in Indiana, 1-800-9-WITH-IT. By the way, if what I was talking about included a deposit bonus, doesn't always, sometimes it does. Deposit bonus requires 25 times playthrough, and deposit bonuses are paid out in site credit.